Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Roll With It Behind the Rolls, Episode 7 recap. We have our lovely DM, Light. Say hello, Light.
Hola.
And today with us, we have one of our fellow players, which is Spellsie, Euphemia.
Hello.
How's it going, ladies?
Not bad. Not bad. How about you?
Good. Pretty good.
I've yeah, you know what? It's been a day. It's been a day. I think the fact that it's dark as all hell at 5 p.m. doesn't help my mood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have
But
to keep checking the clock because I've been playing a lot of Dragon Age Velguard. So I'm like, I lose track of time really quickly. I'm like, oh, it's dark out. Is it already like 8 o'clock? No, it's like 6. I'm like, okay.
yeah, you know, and just before we started talking, we were talking about the motorcycles, and that was actually one of the reasons that I sold my motorcycle was the fact that during like half of the year it gets dark at 5 p.m. so I can't go out riding my motorcycle or like after work or whatever. So I almost never rode it, and it was just like sitting there. But I do miss it. Fall was actually my favorite time to ride. And but yeah. Anyway, ADHD aside, episode 7 recap. We made it to the island, and well, you know, things happen.
Things happened. Yes, they did.
Yeah. Lady DM, would you like to kind of give us a brief recap?
Yeah. So they finally made it to the Crescent Isles, which it's inhabited by the Voodoo Queen and other people around. And so basically, the reason why they made the journey over there is because Captain Isla, who is the captain of the Wind Dancer, had some, train goods that she needed to go to. So they all got to go to the island, rest, enjoy the festival, which was celebrating the spirits, the ancestors, and all that. And the Voodoo Queen has basically said to them, if you have any questions, the cards can tell you what it is, but nothing's for free. And so basically make an offering. You could do anything, basically. And one particular person, as we all know, because he's a lord, Victor kind of is a little snob, but it's fine, right? So it's okay.
It's fine. The other noble went first.
Right. Yeah. So some people did get their cards read, and some people paid for a group. Eventually, they did get their questions and answers. There are some other things that happen.
Yeah, and I mean, I
we'll
guess we could
get
just
to that.
we could just go bit by bit, right?
Yeah.
So we get here, and this Voodoo Queen offers us readings, and some people are all for it, Euphemia, while others are more hesitant, Victor and Voren, for whatever reasons.
Whatever reasons.
Because, like, from my point of view, the reason Voren asked for a group reading is because he didn't want his own personal reading. But he still was curious about information, you know? But he's like, no, I don't. It's kind of weird to have somebody tell me about me and my life and whatever. And
Were you afraid of getting called out?
Yes. Voren doesn't like to be at a disadvantage when it comes to knowledge and things. So, like, somebody willingly saying that they can read like his like energy, spirits, or whatever, he's like, I don't know how I feel about that, but I can dismiss it as, what do you have to say about the group? You know?
Yeah.
just to get information. And then
Like, don't focus
Euphemia.
on me, but focus on the group.
Yeah, exactly. But Euphemia did her own reading. So how did you think that go, Spellsie?
I thought it was very interesting. I had the question that I asked and then another question that I had in mind. The other question was more towards her goal, and I'm waiting on a little bit to see if people will ask later on about it. Because like she hasn't really worked on it because she hasn't really found new information yet. The fish people thing is new, yes, but the stuff that she has learned and has in that big the book that she carries with her is that's basically all information that you can have on majority of creatures.
Okay, that's interesting. Was she concerned at all as to like what she was going to hear, or was she prepared for anything? What was her mindset going into this reading?
She was more on the curious side and kind of half prepared, because she you can't really be prepared for something that you don't know what the person is going to tell you. But with the reading with the question that she had, and Warren kind of figured it out a little bit, I think like 2 sessions ago at this point now, that very, like, she and her brother had a very rough beginning before they were adopted into the Knight family.
Interesting. And so like for her, she didn't want to be reminded of that, or like didn't want that to be brought up?
It's more of just like especially with specifically with the thaumaturgy thing that Warren did, it kind of basically put her back into the mindset of what she was when she was a child. Just like terrified, and that's basically one of the core things that she remembers what happened when she was a kid. But this creature that she's looking for has been on her mind for years. She has like scoured every book that her family had to see if she could find something, a clue, a hint to what it could be.
Oh, cool. So do you think you got your money's worth?
I would say so.
Because part of Warren was like, I don't know if that was worth 25 gold. But it was also
that's why
because
I did
of
5 gold.
Right, but I mean I offered more because I wanted to hear about for like the entire group. But also like he's such a skeptic that he was like, I don't know, like a lot of that could have just been intuition, you know? But then it's like, I don't know, did I get 25 golds worth? Whatever.
I mean, you got to think readings. If people actually get readings, they're more like guidelines. And how with cards themselves, that's why I stated, if you ask a question, that question might not be answered. Something else might be answered.
Right.
Because the cards are telling you something. So for me to actually say all that stuff, it's how the cards would be told. Which, fun fact, I was actually going to use real cards, but I decided against it because cards will actually say some things, and I'm like, maybe not.
That's the tricky thing with using cards, because it also that is the weirdest thing with cards, because sometimes cards will be like sassy to you. It's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
and you know what? I actually thought about that. I actually wondered if you were using cards, because you told me that you previously have like done that or looked into it or
Mhm.
messed around with it.
yeah, I used to do it on GTA and Conan. I've done that.
Yeah.
But to actually do it in a D&D game, I definitely did it. I have a special deck that I was going to do, but like I said, I was against it. I was like, nah, I'm going to put you away.
It's like, I don't know how much like prep work do or you have done in the past with using the deck, but I know like for some people they have to do like a lot of steps before even using the cards.
There's a step by step. Little side note: it really depends on what deck is. Some of the decks are, like you said, can be sassy. Some of them will actually honor the question, or some of them will be like, "No, this is what you get." Yeah, I mean, there's a step by step process. I got to make sure my place is cleaned. I have certain things I have to have. I wrap these cards in silk. So yeah, I do like the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Mhm.
Have you ever seen the movie Tarot? And complete side question here.
No, it's
Uh,
on my watch list. I want.
No, I haven't seen it yet either.
Anyway, the just me going off the rails again. The
It's okay. We all did.
so as far as it, she asked about preparation. I mean, she was asking about the readings, but as far as preparation for this session, you say you usually have a beginning, a middle, and an end, and you kind of let the players determine how you get to those things.
Mhm.
Were you prepared for anybody that wanted to have a reading done, or were you just planning on just bringing it up or talking about it if they did?
No. When I dangle things in front of your guys' faces, and it's up to you if you see it or not.
Yeah.
So the whole tarot card situation or the readings, I wanted to see. I wanted to see if you guys were, to take. I'm gonna be blunt. Take the bait.
Mm-hmm.
And it's up to you guys on what questions you wanted to ask. So therefore, I was prepared, but it really depends on what the question you guys wanted. That's why, like with Victor, he was like, 2 silver. Is that really how much it's worth to you? Even though I know OC he had no gold, but at the same time, it's just like, well, if he wanted to do 2 silver, he could have done it. He could have come in, dropped 2 silver. He could have asked a question, but he could have got a different answer.
He also totally could have asked, like, "Hey, can I get like a few gold pieces to see what this lady will say about me?"
Yeah, I think he's just being Victor being Victor.
Yeah, it's Victor being Victor.
Just being like, no, he doesn't get like monetary help from other people, and it's like, oh boy, you're gonna learn.
Yeah, I mean, if he really wanted to, he could have gone back to the ship and grabbed that 60 gold.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't. I mean, that's fine. And like I said, it really depends on what questions you guys asked me, and then you guys received what I would said. And it's nice because each of you did do gold, right? But Nyx was the only one that offered a song. And so therefore, that song is now in a box.
Which is funny that Nyx did that, because I was honestly trying to think of like what items would Euphemia have on her that she would trade. Because I thought about giving her the Voodoo Queen like an item that she like carried or wore all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't think of anything at the time, so I'm just like, fuck it, I'll go with the gold.
Yeah, no, and that's why anything could have been whatever. I mean, you guys are just starting. I mean, it's week 7. Maybe down the line, you will meet the voodoo queen and you might have more objects on you. And what is it worth to you? You know? There is some things that I know you guys have, and I was wondering if you guys would have gave it up. Which you didn't. That's fine. But it was very interesting that Nyx did that with the song, which that was fine. I thought that was actually really, really nice and very clever.
Yeah, I think I actually kind of liked that one of us decided to go a different route. I thought that was kind of cool. I thought about, yeah, I did the same
Hello?
thing. Oh, was I not? I guess my
Nope.
my
No,
mouse
you
must
weren't
have
coming
been
through.
yeah. It's like depending on where my mouse is, my push to talk doesn't work. I thought about doing the same thing as Spellsie, which was like, hey, look in your pockets to see what you could trade. But I'm like, I don't. I'm just gonna give 5 gold. Like for Vorn, money's never really meant anything because he could get it if he needs, you know.
Yeah.
And he can get the things he needs without money as well. So that's why I actually really liked Victor's observation when he was like 25 gold. Like he's like, you're spending that much money more. It's like, I guess, yeah, it doesn't matter. But yeah, I didn't really have anything. I was about to trade the teeth, to be honest.
That would have been something.
I
Yeah.
am
That would have
so
been something.
curious where what those teeth are. I really wish you would have came to you, Femi, and been like, "Hey, do you know what these teeth are?"
Yeah, so like now, well, for context, anybody listening, the Vorn has been holding on to this little bag, a little pouch that has vampire teeth in it, and also like a ripped up note. That from the little bit of that you can make from it, it seems like an invitation to some random shit, like a party or something, an auction. But there's no details that can be discerned or anything yet, so he's just been kind of holding on to that. And now that he knows that Victor is a dampier, he's not gonna show that to him yet. He's gotta wait until like the right moment to play that card because I mean, he also has to be careful. Like, if Victor discovers that he has teeth, it might be like, oh, he's a vampire hunter or something. You know, it's like he's got to play that well because he needs information first.
I mean, he already knows that there's one monster hunter in the group.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Femi has been out and open with that one.
Yeah. So after talking to the voodoo queen, now his mind is like wide open. Like, okay, vampire teeth. And then it just happens to be, okay, now there's a vampire here. I have this piece of paper that I don't know what the hell it is, but eventually I will. So it's like, now he's just kind of sitting back and waiting to see what alleyway he should sneak into. But interesting stuff. So from that moment, everybody spoke to the voodoo queen. From your perspective, DM, what were some of the things that you kind of enjoyed putting out there as far as like knowledge or you know, any of those ratings and the players' reactions?
I think, well, first of all, playing the voodoo queen because I love doing her voice is a thing in itself, and I hope all of you enjoyed the aspect.
I mean, yeah, I'm still a little. I feel like I know this character, but you're telling me that it's not the character I'm thinking. It's just like this could be.
Maybe, but who knows? What she was talking about, the first campaign I did with Spellsie, there was a Loa who is Maman Brigitte, who is the only Loa that's white, who actually comes from Ireland. And she's also a goddess or deity from there too. But the Voodoo Queen is actually more dark skinned. So
Mhm.
no. But I don't know. I was definitely. I think I was waiting on certain questions or seeing if certain people would ask a question.
Yeah.
But I think everybody had a snippet of something that could be coming up. Is even like when she talked to Voren, she basically says, "I'm surprised you didn't come and ask me."
Mm-hmm.
And so that was interesting. I wanted to see
Yeah.
if there was something, but she didn't get paid, so she's not gonna say anything.
Right. Yeah. Like she's not gonna push it on him, and he's just to say that he's not interested is being deceptive.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't want to know because some like answers don't mean peace, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for Voren, he's kind of lived his entire life the way that he has, being helped by the guild and things like that. That he, while it's somewhere in the back of the mind, that little thorn that, hey, you were abandoned as a child for some reason. That thorn is there, but he just decides to ignore it because his life has been good enough, I guess, from his perspective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
Which is interesting that both me outside of it that I've noticed that both Magpie and Born have a similar kind of background of what happened to them.
yeah, and what's even more interesting to me is how I keep saying every week that how different Magpie and Voren are, even with that similar background, not just being both of us being rogues, but both of us being like abandoned as children. Our lives went in complete different directions, and that's very curious. I wonder if, I mean, I'm sure it'll come up eventually, but for
I
Voren
didn't do it.
is, huh?
I said I didn't do it.
You didn't do it.
you guys came up with the background. So.
Yeah, for Voren, it's always been, that's why it's kind of frustrated Voren a couple of times with Magpie. It's like, yeah, you live this way because you want to. Because I was given the same opportunities and I went a different way, I've never known hunger. I've never known not having a place to stay. So yeah, like I don't know who my family is, but I didn't let that stop me. So I wonder at what point in the campaign that conversation is going to happen with Voren and Magpie.
I've also noticed when it came with Magpie, at least now between this session and last session, that especially when her and Victor finally spoke to each other, I think that she's starting to, okay, I think I can start trusting these people, or at least that's how I'm reading it from the interactions with everybody. She's not as like cold as we were like 5 sessions back.
I completely agree. I think that she is opening up at her own pace, and that was kind of what Brick Warren tried to explain to Victor is like we all have different ways of dealing with things and reacting to things. I guess the big thing in this conversation is don't expect yourself out of others, because I think that that's kind of what Victor does a lot of the time. It's like if I would do this, or if this is how I am, then why aren't other people like this?
That's what I like with the conversations that when Euphemia and Victor have. It's just like Euphemia's just trying to kind of humble Victor a little bit and get him to understand and look in a different perspective. Because she is a noble now, but she didn't start that way. So she's been through the working hard to get where she is now. Her whole family's done that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really curious. So it's kind of interesting how that's mirroring the rogues as well. How you two similar lifestyles, but way different lives, and way different upbringings as well. Even though the place that you're at now might be somewhat similar, um, and all that's going to make a difference in the way that you react to things or the way that you move forward.
Most definitely.
But okay, so I've asked a couple of people what has been like your favorite moment in, you can say in your RP, or your favorite moment in the campaign, even if it didn't involve you. What would you say, Spellsie?
Oh God. Honestly, one of my favorite moments was seeing both Magpie and Minerva just like kind of watch over this kid that we found like the last session. Just seeing how the different side of Magpie and also seeing a little bit more of Minerva was one of my favorite parts.
Yeah, I think there's so much to be learned about Minerva. Um, I'm actually really excited to have her open up a bit, and if she gets the opportunity to talk to the voodoo, I wonder if she would even do it, because it kind of seems anti-religion, or like anti her religion. Um, so I'm curious as to what she would do and what information she would get. You know?
Because like I feel like Minerva has this little bit of curiosity, so I think she might go for it whenever you guys do that with the little one-on-one.
I think so too, and because I completely agree. I think she has this level of curiosity without. I don't think she will intentionally mean to be disrespected, like disrespecting her religion or anything of the sort. But I think with the way that she does have an explorative nature to her. That I think that also comes down to knowledge. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. What do you think? Like,
With what? With everything in general?
yeah, what
There's
like
multiple layers.
Minerva, yeah, like Minerva and how her religion will affect like an interaction with the Voodoo Queen.
I mean, that's a good question. Her religion, especially because it is the moon goddesses or god. If she really wants to know, she'll ask. But if she doesn't
Yeah.
want to know and, turn down the voodoo queen, it's there too. I just still have to ask her if she wants to do something.
Yeah. I'm very interested to see where she goes from there. All right. So moving along, after we all get information and stuff from the Voodoo Queen, and Vorin runs into a half-naked Victor, and no, like sees that he is doing some sort of ritual, which it was prayer ritual. Vorin doesn't really give a shit. Like, as if it's not affecting me, I don't give a shit. But he got to see like almost a different side of Victor there, but was slightly dismissive of the whole situation because he needed knowledge from Victor, so he didn't want to make the situation awkward. But then
he didn't want to focus on the other shit that was going on.
Right.
And the one thing is, you did see a different side of him.
I did, yeah. a very exposed side of him. um, jeez.
I'm sorry, you walked in that.
Yeah. Then, just like Warren did, yeah, he walked straight into. But then something happened with Spellsie, and shit kind of spiraled out of control. Which one of you would like to tell us a bit more about that?
What do you mean? Okay, so Spellsie is part of this group. I tend to make it where she's more of a background, but if something happens, she will kind of say something, talk, help out, whatever it can be. She did get a card reading from the Voodoo Queen, and she came out more kind of distraught, and she kind of went alone a ways. Any of them could have came up to her and asked her. Eventually, Magpie did, and it seemed that she wanted to say more, but she didn't. But ended up basically, going to sleep. Little by little, everybody else finally went to sleep. But around 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, she basically yelled. Magpie, who was sleeping in the tree, so was Nyx. She was the first one to notice that Spellsie was running towards the ship, and eventually Warren woke up because being a rogue. I mean, rogues are more light sleepers.
Ready to go.
And that, yeah, because anything could happen, especially if it's a strange place. If it's your own place, you'd probably be more comfortable because you probably set up boob shops and all that. But being in a foreign area, yeah, you're going to be ready. And eventually all the group finally ran after her, especially some from the crew, especially the captain, which the group actually kind of saw a little bit more of the captain and how fast she ran. And there was, I guess, was it between Magpie and Warren did see Spellsie, she actually started to swim towards the ship. Eventually saw the reason why 2 of the men that were part of the crew, or actually got the job to be on the crew, was in a rowboat, and they were rowing away, which in a nutshell actually had Spellsie's egg. Well, was like, big giant sack, which they didn't know what was inside. But everybody helped. They got it back. And the survivor that, ended up getting questions asked upon why was basically they after her or the sack. And it was revealed that either get one or the other. And then you guys can finish from there.
Yeah, I think
because
I think the situation
your
could have
friend
gotten really bad.
Oh yeah.
I think it was handled the best it could have been. I was afraid for many reasons. I was afraid that something would happen to Spellsie, and now we were gonna be responsible for this fucking egg. If we were, if we would even get our chance to take it back, or we would have had to find it, which would have just been a completely different mission than what we're currently on. I thought, I mean, the ship is known for withstanding so many different attacks by pirates and stuff like that, and it's a very formidable ship. But I was worried about the ship. This is our new home, pretty much. And we go out there without really giving it a second thought. Voren jumps in the water. What the fuck is Voren gonna do in the water? he just jumped in after Celeste to keep her company, but he is at a complete disadvantage in the water. He has nothing to do there. Like, he doesn't have any ranged like weapons or anything. I mean, at that point, he just got out of bed. He was probably unarmed the whole time. um, so it was a weird situation for us to be in, but I think everybody really, handled themselves well. I feel. How do you think it went from your perspective, Spellsie?
I'm glad that we were able to retrieve the egg, because I honestly thought it was going to be a lot more dramatic if either
Yeah.
the egg was taken or the egg sunk into the water. But I was very surprised. It's just like, so 2 of them are gonna go swim. Nah, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna get in one of the boats with the others. And I'm glad that at least my idea of literally like running along the side of the wind dancer to help actually worked somewhat.
It's very interesting because it started to become basically like a match. You guys versus the small rowboat and the 2 men. And when you guys were like, oh, how many feet? Most of your spells are 120 feet.
Mine are 60, so I was not.
Oh, I
had to wait.
So you're 60. A little tidbit. I'm actually surprised that you haven't asked Celeste, because she was a lot further from the ship or the rowboat.
That we haven't what? I'm
A
sorry.
little tidbit, but that's it.
That we haven't asked Celeste what was it?
Her spell was over 180 feet.
Oh, I see.
I honestly don't know what spell she's got, so it didn't even occur to me.
Yeah, I don't know. At this moment I see Celeste as kind of like way stronger than us. And like everything she does, she's just focused in her objective.
She's basically the oh shit card when we're fucked in a situation.
Maybe not.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we're gonna have to get to know her a bit better. So then we recovered the egg.
Yes.
Not without a little conflict, but the captain's a badass, and there's so much about her that we don't know that is mysterious, but she's also not holding back at all. Like, I don't understand why so little was known about this person before this, when she just kind of does things, like she's not concerned about what anybody thinks or what anybody says, or she's not worried. And she's kind of a badass. Is that how you intend her to be?
Where's your mic is a little popping?
Popping as in loud?
Yeah, it's like static pop type of thing.
Okay.
I
think that sounds better.
I didn't do anything, but
oh no, never mind. It's there.
Yeah.
So Isla, what I could tell you is that she's the captain of the Wind Dancer. Pirates fear her. She's a merchant ship. Oh, it might be Discord. You might be right, Neffy. And well, how I created her is I actually played her in Conan. So you might learn a little bit more about her.
I don't think I ever got to see Isla and Conan.
No, she went by a different name, which I'm not going to say it.
Oh. I see.
Not yet. Not yet. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's a reason why. Basically, because I mean, what you guys saw of her, coming out of nowhere, like the other week, how there was that shipwreck, and then basically she just walked, jumped down and walked in the water just to look, as everybody else, gathered things or trying to find things, to the point where going on the island, she talked to the voodoo queen. She put something in her pocket when they came out. She's very low key. I mean, she even admit, oh, I'm drinking too much, but she didn't really act drunk. To the point where everybody was ahead of her running, and she bypassed everybody. And this is dashing. And dashing is you go from 30 feet of movement to 60 feet of movement. And she was passing everybody. And, running on water and just leaping on the ship. And, and also shooting one of the men that Victor, shot, putting him on fire. And, just cleaning her gun and waiting for you guys to ask this man that they captured a question. There was just simple rules. You steal from the people. Basically, you steal from us, steal from me. And there's consequences. So, I mean, she's there for you guys to to see what happens next, I guess.
And we got into some of those consequences. Well, so one of us lost their cool. And if I can create a poll for anybody right now, most people would probably guess correctly that it was Victor. Victor revealed himself. I don't know what exactly, other than anger and frustration, what drove him to this. Was it was he that hungry? Or was he just that angry?
It could be possible that he was that hungry.
Or he could have been that way, but he's been fed. The ship has been providing him.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But the man did call Spellsie a bitch. So could something also trigger that?
Yeah, maybe he's a feminist. He's like, you're not gonna call a lady a bitch right in front of me. I'm gonna bite you. But he did it. He did it. He bit the guy, drank his blood, something he had never done before. He lost his vampire virginity in front of all of us. And
I hope someone clips that.
And it was intense. Most of us probably, not Euphemia. She was like, okay, I knew that already. But everybody else.
She was still caught off guard that he did it. It's just like, she wants to push a little bit more. It's just like, why? But also it's just like, she doesn't want to get into his business either.
Right. That makes sense, really. But now, Voren, that has kind of changed his view on him, but not in a prejudice way. Voren doesn't judge people like that. More in a how can this benefit me in the long run? What kind of knowledge can I get from this guy now? Or what can I learn that can benefit me? I think that's where Voren is with Victor right now. But also the fact that he has vampire teeth in his pocket. So it's okay. Now I have to figure out what this all means. But then I don't know. What do you think? I guess it's getting into spoiler territory if we do this, but how did the rest of the crew react? Is kind of what I'm wondering.
Oh, you talking about like the crew of the Wind Dancer?
Mm-hmm.
Or are you talking about you guys? The rest of you guys?
No, yeah, the crew of the ship. I think all of us will. I mean, we've already discussed it, but then we can get into that
Yeah.
after.
I would say if you guys during that time, I mean, you could have rolled and say, you know, what the other crew were doing, but they know, no, the whole crew knows what Victor did.
Mm-hmm. They sure do.
But yeah, but at the same time, even the Wind Dancer knew. So that would be up to you guys if you go up to the captain or the rest of the crew and see what they say.
Yeah, like I guess this is just speculation now, but and I'm guessing that they kind of already knew. Like
Mhm.
I don't think any of them are going to be surprised. But that's just me, and I guess we'll find out. But to get back to the recap, we did have a discussion with Victor because the vampire in the room had to be addressed.
Mhm.
And well, I mean, most of us were pretty accepting. And hi Sin, we're talking about you. Most we were pretty accepting. I don't think anybody really was taken aback by the vampirism thing. I think most of us are like, okay, you're just another type of creature. You know, it is what it is. However, I think internally we're all like drawing boundaries and seeing where what this means.
It's true. I mean, we don't know what people really think, right? As character wise.
Right.
We knew, some people knew, of course, OC because he did, you know, spill it to Euphemia at the time. But now to actually see him, well, in action, ripping guys, or yeah, basically sticking his teeth through the guy's neck. Everybody could be, you know, showing a face, but inside they might go, what, you know? So I guess we will have to see when that happens or where it goes down the line from there. I mean, so far everybody's okay.
At least on Euphemia's standpoint, because yeah, she was the first to know, but now that he's outed himself and also has drank from a person, her kind of instinct is starting to kick in a little bit and kind of watch Victor. She wants to make sure that he doesn't go like blitzed out if he like continued to eat from people, or if it could get worse, because I don't think she's really dealt with Dampires. Vampires she's talked to and such, but not really Dampires. Dampires are very rare.
Yes, Dampires in my world are very rare.
Yeah, and I think that has crossed Brick's mind as well. It is, I'm sure it's probably crossed everybody else's mind, is she's a monster hunter. What does this mean? Because technically he's not a monster. He's a being of sorts, but they can have monster-like tendencies, and he's never been found in a position that his bestial nature would come out. So I know, I'm guessing this is going to be above the table. I don't think Voren would even really think this way for now, but it's like she's probably keeping an eye on him, and I think that is probably a very obvious thing, and I'm sure that he knows it as well.
And I was kind of surprised that Voren didn't ask of being like, what's the monster hunter going to do? Because and it was said before, out of character, but also in character too, Victor is just like, I am not going to do anything to you until you become a threat.
Right. And so I think speaking like strictly above the table, Voren's more of a listener than he is a speaker when it comes to information. He thinks people give more information when they're not trying to than when they are. And of course he will every now and then lead a conversation to try to get information, but something that he's learned is that sometimes you get more information tomorrow than you do today, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And so he knows.
It's kind of. I was just gonna say, it's kind of the same for you, Euphemia. If someone asks, she'll answer, but she won't just kind of like out.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting turn of events for things moving forward, for the group, and I want to see how much of a struggle it becomes for Victor, as opposed to the way that he grew up, and any conflict that it might create within the group because of the whole situation.
His first taste of fresh human blood.
Yeah. How different is it than drinking it from a bottle? We'll have to ask our resident vampire. But after that, I guess that was kind of nearing the end of the episode, right? Where we had this discussion. Where else did we go from here?
I would say I think he had at least a couple days. The ship, was setting its course towards this water temple. And at that point, the ship stopped. And we all got headaches.
And we all got headaches. Oh, I guess we should probably talk a little bit about the off session that we had. Yeah, because that matters.
that does matter.
It matters. So, Lady DM, take it away.
All right. So last Friday, I came up with a one shot for these lovely people. I asked them to make me some lords and ladies, dukes and duchesses, and countess or kings and queens. And they did. Each of them made up a nice background, simple. They named some towns or some cities. And now it is across the map, which one day I might really show everybody my map, but it has so many names I'm not using. It drives me insane, but it's okay. And one particular person, named Sin, decided to play his father. So his father, was playable. And so every year, the lords and ladies of the lands get invited to basically like a party. And this party is basically where everybody can meet each other, talk to each other, maybe make some deals or, whatnots and stuff. If there was ever anybody who were enemies with each other, the person that's inviting, make sure that they don't invite each other. So this group got invited, and it was a ball, a black and white ball, and some of them, of course, they represent, maybe some of their colors, of course, but mainly they were black and white. There was some dancing, there was talking, and then there was dinner. There was a particular woman who actually dressed up as very light green. Her face was covered and basically offered these people to partake or to buy or to see if they want this brand new wine that she has. And from the dance to the dinner, people started getting headaches, this particular group. And the headaches kept coming and coming to the point where they got passed out and they end up in another kind of like dining room by themselves. Some people started to see shadows. Others people started to hear whispers, chanting, and it went on and on and on to the point where now everybody hears and sees the same things. As one of them or a couple of them would kind of get antsy, which probably would have almost been a TPK, but that's been interesting because who's Victor's dad is, who is actually a vampire. I don't know how long it would have been, but eventually the door did open, and the woman's voice basically said to them, enter into the room as sacrifices, as she is the true elemental queen. So the party did go, and on the other side of the door, they met Cthulhu. And that was the end of the episode.
Yeah, that was the end of the episode, I'll say.
They were sacrifices.
It's there's a lot of crazy shit happening.
I kept making jokes about Ukatoa from Campaign 2 of Critical Role.
Oh man, but yeah, that's kind of where we are at now. It's funny because we have these missions or these objectives that we still need to do while we're kind of fugitives in a way as well. We're just barely keeping it together. But one thing leads to another, and it seems, whether it's fate or whether it's not, it seems like we're moving in the right direction, but that right direction feels wrong every time. But we'll see. Sometimes going in the wrong direction is exactly the way that you need to go.
Also, to give you guys a viewpoint, the party that these wonderful lords and ladies went to was during the first week on when this campaign went on the ship. So it happened during that week time frame. They're already going on 2 weeks. Probably now it's like over 2 weeks. Yeah, going on the third. And they got headaches. So we'll see.
Yeah.
See what happens.
So, Spellsie, what is it now? Just as a question, what is something that you intended for your character that you're perhaps you haven't gotten a chance to work it in yet, or if you don't want to get into like spoiler territory for your character, that's fine. But like, what is something that you're hoping to do with your character, or hoping to have done already and haven't gotten a chance to?
I would say with this past session, it's now starting to where getting to more of her psychic medium abilities, because she's only been able to show it off like one other time, and I kind of hope that I get to show a little bit more of that and kind of use it for her.
Yeah, I think the whole voodoo spirits or spirits of the voodoo or whatever it is, I think that sounds really cool, and I'm excited to see what that leads to.
I don't know, like I
Um,
thought of a fun name for it too, like Spirit Walker or something like that would be another fun name if you thought like.
mhm. You will see. There's a reason why it's Spirits of Voodoo.
Mm-hmm.
And basically it is I'm introducing prestige classes. Um, and Spellsie's character Euphemia is the first one to obtain a prestige class. The others eventually will come through in moments time, and some of it I might dangle in their face, and some of it they might not catch. So we'll see. We'll see that what happens.
Yeah, I think it's exciting. I never played with anything like that before, so I'm curious to see how that leads to our characters changing the way they do things or see things. So, pretty excited.
Because like I even thought of multi-classing Euphemia into another class. I haven't really fully looked yet, but kind of either having her go into possibly Death Domain Cleric, or maybe a druid of some kind, depending on what I can find.
Mm-hmm.
So, for Sin's question there, I like I said, I think we slightly touched up on it. Spellsie, for Euphemia and Vorin, how do they feel about killing the egg thief? I think Vorin said he for Vorin, he doesn't really care. He's actually, I think he would have probably done something of the sort himself. So it didn't really affect his psyche at all. It's just like another one of those things we had to do, you know? What about for Euphemia?
To Euphemia, this was kind of like another form of dealing with like bandits of some kind. She probably also would have either killed the person, but since didn't really have to go there, she probably even could have went through the lengths of minor torture to get information. There's the side of her that no one's seen yet, and I'm excited for when that comes out.
Yeah,
that monster hunter mode.
That makes sense for me as well. It's like Vorin has made little like quips before. It's like, I've done worse than that before. Like, he doesn't really talk about it. It's not that public, but killing somebody that was trying to steal from the group is not the worst thing that Vorin has done in his life. So it's like, it's whatever. I think that moment for him was more shocking that Victor bit into him than us deciding to kill him.
Mm-hmm. And like Euphemia said, it's just like, if we didn't do anything, Captain Isla would have done something. Probably would have killed him. She was polishing her pistol.
Yeah. I mean, in a way, she did roll some dice and they ended up being sharks, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
environmental kill.
actually, now I have a question for you guys, and if you guys are also in the chat, how did you guys feel on that scenario when she rolled the dice and she even like said shark, siren, shark, and then all of a sudden these sharks appeared?
So that goes back to my comment on like, this lady's a badass and I have no idea what she's capable of. I don't know if part of that is her working with the ship or natural abilities that she might have. For Vorin is intrigue and also being impressed. The fact that she chose that, like, above the table, M9 thought it was really cool because it reminded me of like Two-Face and Batman, letting the coin decide. So it was a cool moment.
It also kind of gave me the vibe, I believe, in Pirates 2 when they're playing the dice game.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe Will bet something. So it was kind of like the gambling type of thing also a little bit.
Just love it. Yep.
But like Euphemia was like a little kind of scared. She's like, this woman can like either use the ship to summon sea creatures to her and deal with people that way, or and also very like curious, because if she can do this, does that mean she could possibly like summon creatures that she's never even seen before that live in the ocean?
Yeah, like the fucking ship. Is she responsible for the ship? I don't know.
Or is the ship responsible for her?
Right?
We'll just have to see when, when this, I don't know, story arc, something. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see where the story takes us. I think we're pretty much good here. We got to the end of the episode. Do any of you guys have anything else to add before we wrap up? Do you have any questions? Spellsie, do you have a question for our DM?
Is it possible that we will see the Voodoo Queen again?
Anything is possible.
What a political answer. Thank you, DM.
You never know. She could be around the corner.
I mean, I'm excited to see when her and Euphemia talk through that book that she got as well.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool. Yeah, I feel like somebody like her could show up at any time. And there's something scary about that, but also, interesting.
I mean, you guys found out that they're on a turtle, so
Fucking turtle.
the island is a turtle. I can't remember what it's called, but it's a huge ass turtle. It's a boss. Oh, I do have a question for you, Spellsie. I asked Sin and M9 last week if any of the NPCs that I have played, which one would you want to play or could play?
In just this campaign or in the previous campaign?
This campaign.
Like, I don't know if I would want to play her, but I would love to see like the story of Captain Isla.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like hers is like really cool. And also how like her and the Wind Dancer kind of came together or came to be.
Yeah, I think like a spin-off series would work with her. How she came to power, how she got the ship, what she has done to defeat the Red Hand at any point. I think all that stuff could be really cool to know. But that's stuff we also could learn in this campaign as well.
Mm-hmm. I mean, technically you have like less than 3 months on the ship. They said 3 months. It could take a little bit more. But right now, you all have headaches. So
yeah,
we'll
I'll get her number and I'll text her some other time.
Goddamn Cthulhu.
Right, we're occupied at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's going to do it for today. Thank you guys for hanging out, and thank you, Light and Spellsie, for coming on the show once again and giving us this little recap. Next Sunday, 6:30 EST, when it's nice and dark outside.
Yeah, now it's nice and dark out.
We will be having our session 8, and we'll keep you updated if there's any off sessions as well or anything else. So stay tuned to the full episodes or the recaps to make sure that you're up to date. You
Of
want
course, we'll see
to
you then.
say anything else, Light?
No, we'll see what happens Sunday.
With her cliffhangers and stuff.
Mhm.
All right.
You guys gotta know me so well.
Mhm. All right. Have a good night, guys. Thank you.
Adios.
Bye.
Bye.